Alright guys, we've got a little LAN here, local area network that we created in our lab. I think it's time to create some laws and rules for that there LAN. Let's go ahead and establish who the sheriff is around these parts. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to take control of that LAN and dictate what others are allowed and not allowed to do. We're going to do that like an IT unicorn. Hey, what is going on there? No funny stuff. That's better. Let's get started. Laying down the law. Hey, what's up guys? We're back here, episode 4 of our Lab Up series, or Let's Lab Up series. Today I want to take a look at what we have so far. We have a nice little LAN here, local area network, where we have a domain, we have a PC joined to the domain, we have internet access, we have EIGRP, distributing routes, and today I want to show you how to, so to speak, lay down the law or create some rules within your LAN. Right now it's kind of like the Wild West where anyone who has connectivity can get to anything. There's no rules stopping anyone from doing anything besides the built-in Microsoft Windows rules, administrative functions, things like that, where you would need to escalate privileges or have admin rights to do certain things. But for the most part, it's wide open. So the 3 topics we'll cover today are access control list, and we'll do that at the Cisco router level. We'll do some Active Directory control where we restrict a user's logon hours, and then we'll do a group policy to block access to specific applications. So we're going to hit it from 3 angles again, guys. ACLs at the router, Active Directory restrictions through logon hours, and group policy to block applications. These are obviously just 3 simple examples, but you can put your own spin on it and use it, craft it for however you like or need. Alright, so let's jump right in, guys. Let's start with the ACL. I think for this one I'll create a VPC and we will restrict traffic for the VLAN 30. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's add a VPC. So we'll just click on our devices here and we'll add a virtual PC. We'll run that on the GNS3 VM. And then let's check our ports to see which port, if any, is on VLAN 30. Oops, we need to do that on the switch, not the router. So it looks like port 2 is already set up on VLAN 30. We haven't configured DHCP for this scope yet, guys, or for this VLAN or subnet. So we'll just plug in a static for this example here, guys. So let's go ahead and power him on. We'll open console and we'll give them an IP. 10. Has to be in that subnet, obviously. 10.30.10.20, and then the subnet mask. And I think you have to put the gateway here. 30.10.1. That should allow us to ping our gateway. Let's check. Yep, and we should be able to ping out. Yep, so we're able to get out to the internet as we see 8888. Alright guys, so what we'll do next is we'll create an ACL on the router to block external traffic. So we'll only allow this guy to get to things inside of the LAN, but if he tries to go out to the internet, we'll block that for everyone on that VLAN 30 from being able to access the internet. So basically we're creating a secured or somewhat isolated internal only VLAN for VLAN 30. Alright guys, so in order to do that, we're going to need to create an ACL on router 2. We could create it on router 1, but this is the closest to that VLAN, so let's create it here. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and create that ACL. We are on router 2. And we're going to create a IP access list extended. So jump into global config mode. IP access list extended. Give it a name. Let's call my VLAN 30. I'm going to do a permit. I'm going to do a permit IP because I want any protocol, including TCP and ICMP. So I'm going to permit 10.30.10.0. It's going to be a /24, but this is defined in wildcard bits. So take your subnet mask and invert it. So instead of 255.255.255.0, it'll be 0.0.0.255. Alright, that's our source. Now we need to define the destination. So we want to allow this subnet to get to anything on the 10 subnet, 10/8. So basically it can get to anything on our LAN, but nothing outside of our LAN. So the destination would be 10.0.0.0. And then the wildcard mask would be the inverted of a /8, so 0.255.255.255.255. And oh, I think I got too many 255s. Try that again. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now the ACL is there, but it's not doing anything. You have to apply it to an interface. So let's jump out of this, and we'll jump into interface fast 1.0 or 1/0.30, which is our sub interface for VLAN 30. And then we're going to do IP access group VLAN 30, which is the extended ACL we created, and we want to apply that inbound on any inbound packets. All right, so that's in place. Let's test it out. Bring the console over here for PC1. We should still be able to ping inside of our network. Start with our gateway that's responding. Let's ping our domain controller. That's responding. So we're able to ping within the LAN. Let's try to ping outside. Administratively prohibited. So we're laying down the law here, folks. It is blocked by the ACL. So when we create an ACL, guys, it's going to allow or deny whatever we define. And then by default, that last line that you don't even have to specify is an implicit deny. So anything that's not on the list, it will be denied at the end of the day. So ACL works its way down from the top down. We only have one line, so if it matches that line, you're permitted. If not, you're denied by the implicit deny. All right, cool. That was the ACL portion of laying down some law here in our local area network. I think next we're going to take a look at how to restrict users' logon times with Active Directory. All right, guys, so in order to do that, let's jump to our domain controller. This is our VMware VM that we have integrated with GNS3. If you haven't seen how to do this, check out the rest of the series. I would start at the first video and work your way through. Show you how to embed these VMware VMs into GNS3 topology. So this is our domain controller. Looks like it went down dirty there, no biggie. It's a lab. Okay, so let's crack open Active Directories, users, and computers. And we're just going to create a test user, and then we'll play around with some different rules here, or at least one. So new user. We'll call this guy user 1. Yeah, let's get more creative. Oh, Tommy. Give him a password. Okay, so that's a new account called Tommy. He should be able to log into this computer because it's domain joined. Let's check. And Tommy will get logged in here. He's allowed since he's part of the domain and we haven't put in any restrictions yet. So while that's loading up there for Tommy, let's set some restrictions here on his login time. What am I looking for here? Sorry guys, log on hours. So we right clicked his account, properties, account tab, log on hours. And now we're going to set when he's allowed to log in. So I'll set a rule that doesn't allow him to log in right now. It's a weekday and it is 5 o'clock in the morning. So let's just set his specific hours to, let's say 7 o'clock, Monday through Friday, or 6 o'clock Monday through Friday. Let's see. So 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We'll say for those hours, logon's permitted. But for anything in the white outside of that block of hours, logon is denied. Let's apply that. Okay. Now, let's try to log in as Tommy again. And these are obviously just simple examples, right? I just want to show you that we have a lab here with our local area network built out with the topology, and these are some things that you can do inside a lab. I want you guys to get creative, whether it's something you're reading about in a book, or maybe something you need to vet out at work, or maybe just something you want to learn. Test it out in the lab. There you go. Your account has restrictions that prevent you from signing in at this time. Please try again later. Womp womp womp. Sorry, Tommy. Okay, guys, that was 2 ways to enforce some restrictions or lay down the law, if you will, in our local area network. The last way that we'll do here, I don't want to make this video too long, is we're going to use group policy, and I'll show you guys how to do that to block a specific application. All right, guys, let's head back to our domain controller, and let's go ahead and remove that restriction from Tommy. That way we can use him to test our GPO that we'll build. All right, so Tommy should be able to log in again now. So let's go ahead and open up Group Policy Manager. We'll create our first GPO here, guys. So you're gonna break down your forest, your domain, and then this is our only domain, unicorn.local. And I will apply it at a user level. So what I like to do is go right to that OU, create a GPO in the domain, and link it here. When you create GPOs, guys, try to use some type of naming convention. So if it's a user policy, start it with a U or call it user. And I'm gonna call this one block PowerShell. So it's a user-based policy, and if it applies to whoever it's directed at, it should block them from accessing PowerShell. So again, try to name it so it makes sense to you guys, right? So you don't have to go in there and look at the settings every time to understand what this is. All right, guys, there's the policy. So right-click that and hit Edit. And this will bring up your Group Policy Management Editor. Okay, guys, within the Group Policy Editor, we want to apply it at the user level. So we're going to go to User Policies. Specific one I'm looking for is an administrative template under the System folder. And it's called Don't Run Specific Windows Applications. So we want to open this one up, enable it, and then show the list of disallowed applications. So here we're going to add our applications. So PowerShell.exe. I think the other one is PowerShell_ISE.exe and PWSH.exe, I believe. Give me 1 second to check that. Yeah. So this will not allow a user where this is applied to launch these applications. There would be ways around it, obviously. If you rename the application, then we'd have to get a little more tricky. But for the most part, this is a pretty safe way to block PowerShell from your basic end users. This would also allow PowerShell not to run by default, right? So if someone try to call PowerShell in a script or something like that, they're going to reference it by the built-in name, and this would block that. So let's put that in place. Okay, so now our GPO is there. It's already linked. So what I want to do is I want to filter this out so that it's not hitting all users, but instead I want it to hit Tommy for this demonstration. So once you remove the authenticated users here, guys, you're going to want to go to properties. You're going to want to go to delegation, and you're going to want to add all users here with read only, because what that does is it allows the computer object to read the policy but not process it. So Tommy will be able to read and process because he's here, so it'll actually apply the policy to him. So what I'm saying is, if you're targeting a user and you remove the authenticated users from here because you don't want it to hit all users, make sure you add authenticated users here as read only. There it is. Okay guys, so that should block PowerShell for Tommy. He's already logged in. We may have to log out and log back in. Let's test this out. Maybe he wasn't logged in, sorry. Alright guys, we're logged back in as Tommy. Let's try to launch PowerShell. You can see it's not really doing anything for us here, guys. Let's navigate to the folder where this lives, where PowerShell lives. Let's see Windows, System 32, Windows PowerShell, version 1.0. Let's try to launch the executable here. The operation has been canceled due to restrictions in effect on this computer. Please contact the system administrator. Same thing for ISE, and it's blocked. So that's how you block a executable or an application from running. And again, we tied that to a specific user account in this case. You could do a security group, you could do all users, whatever your use case is, you would just filter that GPO accordingly. So yeah guys, this was a video on how to add some laws or rules, if you will, or lay down the law in this LAN, right? To show you that now that you have this little lab, this local area network built out, it's yours, right? You're the sheriff in this town. Play around with it, create some rules, delete them, modify them, get familiar with ways to control your environment. Again, we tackled this from 3 different angles. We used a Cisco iOS router access control list to dictate what traffic is and is not allowed on a particular VLAN. Did that with VLAN 30 in the VPC by blocking all external traffic, so he's only allowed to talk internally to the LAN. If he tries to go outbound, cut him down, not allowed. Then we jumped over to Active Directory, users and computers, and we told Tommy he's only allowed to log in when we tell him he's allowed to log in, which was 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We proved that by trying to log in, and we got the message from Windows saying you're not allowed to log in due to a time restriction. And lastly, we jumped over to group policy and created our first group policy here to block PowerShell and PowerShell ISE for a specific user in the domain. So that user-based policy would follow that user wherever they log in. Right now we only have a single Windows 10 VM, but if you had multiple VMs or multiple PCs in the domain, that would follow the user because of the way that we applied that particular GPO to the user. So yeah guys, I encourage you, build this lab out, watch it from video 1, make sure you're following along and understanding, and if you have any questions, shoot them out to me. I would be happy to help you guys along the way so you gain a better understanding and you know what you're doing following through these labs. Alright guys, this was video 4. Haven't had a ton of feedback yet, so I'm not sure how much further I'm going to go. I was looking at maybe putting an ASA in here and building out a site to site, but if I don't get too much more feedback, This may be the end of the labs, and I'll probably jump back over and focus on some more offensive security or just general IT knowledge for you guys. But let me know what you think. If you stuck around this long, appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until the next one, take care, guys.